Welcome, climate viewers, to another Tuesday News Day. Weather modification, geoengineering news. It is May 17th, and got a lot of news for you over the past week. We sum this up on Tuesdays, get you up to date on all the latest climate engineering and weather control news spread across the interwebs. Welcome aboard, buckle your seat, and let's jump straight into something that is kind of lulls worthy. Right over here, and boom. Trump kept asking if China was shooting us with a hurricane gun. A hurricane gun. Okay. I don't know why this is like resurfaced. This is something from back in the day. And I thought it was pretty funny when I first heard about it, but there's got to be some truth to it. So anytime they're mocking a story like this, there's probably some truth hiding underneath. The then leader of the free world also inquired whether the U.S. could bomb China in retaliation for the alleged hurricane attack. And this is Rolling Stones, dated May 10th. 2022. So all links are in the details. I was very sure to keep that up because the one time I didn't put the links in, I was being lazy, and boy did I hear it. But yes, all the links are always in the details. Everything is free of charge, open source, and I'm just going to give my commentary quickly on these. So near the beginning of Donald Trump's time in office, the then president had a pressing question for his national security aides and administration officials. Does China have the secret technology, a weapon even, to create large man-made hurricanes and then launch them at the United States? And if so, would this constitute an act of war by a foreign power? And could the U.S. retaliate militarily? Then President Trump repeatedly asked about this, according to two former senior administration officials and a third person briefed on the matter. It was almost too stupid for words, said a former Trump official intimately familiar with then sitting president's inquiry. I did not get the sense he was joking at all. Now let's be real, chat. He wasn't joking. And for the former Trump official who said, quote, it was almost too stupid for words, you are too stupid for words, I'm allowed to say in a family-friendly weather podcast, vodcast, whatever the hell you want to call it. You're too stupid for words. So weather weaponization has been a thing since the 70s. Actually, they started modifying weather hurricanes with cloud seeding less than 11 months after it was invented. So in 1946, when cloud seeding was invented at the General Electric Laboratories by Vincent Schaefer, Irving Langmuir, and Bernard Vonnegut, less than 11 months they did Project Cirrus and tried to steer a hurricane. So it is not out of the realm of possibility, nor is it crazy or too stupid for words to ask the question, could a foreign power be screwing with hurricanes and weaponizing them when we, the United States, weaponized the monsoons over Vietnam during Operation Popeye, which led to a ban on weather warfare in 1976 through 78. So the only thing too stupid for words is Rolling Stone republishing this old rehashed argument about Trump must be crazy for even asking this. Kind of funny. But they go on and they say, you know, in certain circles, the upper ranks of Trump land, the then leader of the free world's query became such a mockable occurrence that it became known as among some as the hurricane gun thing. I was present when he asked if China made hurricanes descend at us. The other official said Trump wanted to know if the technology existed. One guy in the room responded, not to the best of my knowledge, sir. I kept it together until I got back to the office. I do not know where the then president would have heard about that. He was asking about it around the time, maybe a little before he asked about nuking hurricanes. Now, I don't know, maybe it's a possibility because weathermodificationhistory.com was created in 2015 by me. Maybe it's a possibility that he actually read up on weather modification, weaponization of weather modification, and that's where he heard about it. I would love to think the fact that, President Trump read weathermodificationhistory.com's timeline and then said, this is a possibility. And I'd like to know if any of you chuckleheads in the room know anything about it. Just a thought. But when he did talk about, there was a lot of press coverage about Trump talking about shooting nuclear bombs into hurricanes. That never really happened. And this is the article right here. Scoop this is from Axios back in 2019. Trump suggested nuking hurricanes to stop them from hitting U.S. Which I'm not going to go through this again because it's old news. If you'd like to hear the full story about Trump and nuking hurricanes, the very first link in the details is a video, which I did back in 2019, because I've been, most of you know this, I've been covering all of these things weather related for over a decade. So this one was August 31st, 2019, nuking Hurricane Dorian, Trump and the history of tropical storm suppression. I suggest you check it out. It's not just about, I go through the commentary on what they say about Trump and nuking hurricanes and all of the backstory. So check that out. It's a great video. All my videos are great. They're the greatest videos ever made on the subject of geoengineering and weather modification. Greatest. Huge. I'm very humble. But anyway, on the same topic, emissions reductions remains public preferred approach to climate change. Now, Jem, why would you bring me such a boring ass article such as this from Brookings? Because emissions reductions, while is the top claim for, climate change related solutions, we need to reduce emissions, man, especially CO2, because CO2 bad. And by the way, all the other particles that hurt people, pollution is bad. We all agree pollution is bad. We probably should stop it. But now here comes the spin. And you're not even going to believe this one. I mean, this is just too crazy. NOAA research news, right from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Study reducing human-caused air pollution in North America and Europe brings surprise results. More hurricanes. Research also finds that increased pollution in Asia may reduce tropical storms. So let me get this straight. We don't want pollution. We want emissions reductions, but more pollution from China will mean less hurricanes for America. So we just went from China's got a hurricane gun that they're sending hurricanes at us to this new study on May 11th, 2022 from NOAA and a bunch of Japanese dudes that said basically air pollution is a big environmental risk to human health, and we have to have made great strides in reducing health risks by reducing particulate air pollution, said Hiroyuki Murakami, a physical scientist at NOAA's Geophysical Fluid Dynamics Laboratory, and a study author. But reducing air pollution does not always decrease the risks of hazards from tropical cyclones. So now they're flipping the script and saying, well, Chinese pollution is actually reducing the numbers of hurricanes. And that's why, how does less pollution in the northern hemisphere increase tropical storms in the Atlantic? Oh, wait for it, because The increasing absence of human-caused air pollution in the northern hemisphere, estimated to be 50% drop in concentration from 1980 to 2020, has led to surface warming over the tropical Atlantic Ocean, which contributes to more frequent tropical cyclones. Without significant amounts of particulate pollution to reflect sunlight, the ocean absorbs more heat and warms faster. And as a result, no. This worked. This worked. I just brought it up early. So here are all the different hurricane tracks, and they've got their models and everything. And basically what they're saying is, that because there isn't as much pollution in the sky, there is less sunlight reflected, and the oceans are getting warmer. Therefore, pollution a good thing. Now, this is not the first time we've heard this. I think it was 5-6 years ago, there were a lot of mainstream propaganda media putting out these stories that air pollution is a good thing because it cools the planet. And of course, that's what geoengineering, solar radiation management, the idea is to use pollution as a climate change solution. So it's the worst of all ideas to block out the sun, to cool the planet. But now they're also adding this spin. Pollution keeps the oceans from warming, which is why we have more hurricanes today. So put that one in your pipe and smoke it. Interesting stuff. Now, I covered this, I believe, last week, and I caught a tweet by a flat earther. But apparently now it's made it to Newsweek, which is kind of ironic. It's coincidental. I think it's because, this is the greatest news organization dedicated to bringing you the truth about the weather controls and the geoengineering. Completely humble, but I covered it. Now it's on Newsweek. You tell me. Fact check, did sky turn crimson red in Chinese port city? And I showed this clip. Now, this is obviously from the originator of the clip, but you can see it here. And they've got basically, bright red skies in China, and a whole lot of people are freaking out about it. And I showed in the tweet that literally some, Chinese person responded, nah, it's fishing boats, and it was really foggy. But of course, now Newsweek has had to, dedicate an entire article to it. And it says, strange red skies. The Meteorological Bureau of Zhoushan has said on Sunday that the red sky that appeared was caused by the refraction and scattering of light, most likely from ship lights in the port. And it turns out that, red skies are normal at sundown, but that's not what caused this. What caused this is these bright red LED fishing lights. And I said that in last week's video. Now it's on Newsweek, but just wanted to cover it. Hey, it came up in my news alerts, so you're hearing about it too. But everything's political, right? So why wouldn't climate engineering be? And as we can see right here, climate engineering as an instance of politicization. Politicization. Hate that word. Talking tomorrow's technology, framing political choice. And of course, everything is politicized these days, from mass shootings to climate change. And of course, geoengineering, climate engineering, climate intervention, also same. And you can look through this. It's a pretty lengthy one, but contents: why assess academic framing of climate engineering? 2 wicked problems: a lack of political decision making and a lively academic discussion. And then it goes on to legitimization and delegitimization of climate engineering. By the way, the climate engineers, the geoengineers, don't want you to call it that. So it's kind of funny that they even call it that. They want you to call it climate intervention now. Leave the engineering part out, because they've already done studies on you people, and you people don't like the word engineering in weather control or weather engineering or geoengineering or climate engineering, because we don't want to break the weather. But climate intervention, people like that. And that is what framing is. It is framing the question so that you get the intended poll result. So here you have a scientific political piece on for the think tanks to go, well, here's how we could better frame this argument. And that way people will listen to us and make the decisions, because, governments have to make decisions on this. And they're usually based on, jackasses like the Council on Foreign Relations, which we're going to get to at the very end of this video because they're still at it. UK government's view on greenhouse gas removal technologies and solar radiation management, updated May 4th, 2020. And this is where they've been for quite a while. And it shows, hey, we're going to throw money at this problem. We're going to continue to study it, but we're not doing it. We're not doing it. It's just all pollution right now, accidental geoengineering. Everything we're doing is just research, development. And in the future, after we come up with laws, maybe some deployment. So you be the judge on that. Will cloud seeding help Central Oregon irrigators? And that's a cloud seeding generator tower right there. And this gentleman's up top, checking some power plugs and making sure that the burner head works because it's right here. And it's got a solar power and set, all that. So they can just dial it up with the computer and turn the weather generating machine on. Ground-based cloud seeding generator. Run by Idaho Power. Idaho Power adds about 100 million acre feet of water a year with the technology. Idaho Power has used cloud seeding to produce more water for its hydroelectric plants since 2003 with much success. And Idaho, if you're in Idaho and you're paying your power bill, you are also funding weather modification because that's how it rolls. That's how it works. Follow the money, and there you go. So right here, we're going to just get out of the way for this one for a second. Governing the Promise and Peril of Emerging Climate Technologies, May 10th, on the Kleinman Center for Energy Policy. You got to love these NGOs. They always have these, big talks on how to, shove laws down your throat. So anyway, this episode is the first in a 3-part series that will explore governance challenges surrounding the transition to clean energy and climate technologies and climate engineering. Interesting title from Eclipse Aviation. Does NASA geoengineering spray chemicals into the atmosphere? Now, we could get into all the things that are wrong with this title in and of itself, but probably clickbait, I'm going to assume. But it's more of a frequently asked question. What are some of the examples of geoengineering, pros and cons, possible risks, and all of the above? But potential negatives. It was found in 2009 that a stratospheric aerosol injection could cause droughts in Africa and Asia, deplete the ozone layer, and cause ocean acidification. It is possible that an error in injections could cause the creation of a brand new ice age. I think that pretty much sums it up. So feel free to read through the fact, but these are the facts. This is why I advocate that geoengineering as a technology be banned, because since 1946, when they invented cloud seeding, they've still not proven beyond a shadow of doubt, which is called scientific efficacy, that if you do X, then Y will occur. So you should not be screwing with the weather. It is simply too complex for you to screw with the weather without the possibility of harming people. And the same is exponentially higher when you're talking about screwing with the global temperature. Doing geoengineering is weather modification on a worldwide scale. Should not be done ever. No sex bots today in chat. Maybe we banned enough of them. They'll probably show up. E-Commons on Cornell University, browsing climate engineering by issue and date. You can also put in here climate intervention, geoengineering, and roll through all the different scientific literature. Pretty interesting stuff. And then you can see data from the overlooked role of stratosphere under a solar constant reduction. You really want to get nerdy. That's your link. Get nerdy. Computer models over on the side, all the original files, zip files. Dig in. Yum, yum. Acuity Magazine, 5 things changing the weather. Why is it that we always see these articles, that mention China controlling the weather, silver iodide, but they always have this picture. I mean, they always have a picture of a jet airline shooting out clouds, making them plane farts that turn into them serious things. It's so clickbait. It's so clickbait. China wants to run a cloud seeding project across 5.5 million square kilometers of the Tibetan Plateau to secure water for rivers. Clouds created either naturally or artificially affect temperature. Weather modification is not a long-term solution for global warming. Reducing carbon pollution is. Well, everybody's got an opinion. Opinions are like assholes. And these people will probably fall into one of those categories, Joshua Glidden. But anyway, so that's interesting. And then over here, we come to The Guardian, where climate geoengineering, way to conflate your terminology there. Let's just stick it all together. Climate solar geoengineering must be regulated, says former World Trade Organization head Pascal Lamy to lead commission exploring how methods to tackle global heating could be governed. This is not global warming, global heating, not climate engineering, not geoengineering, climate geoengineering. I'm already scratching the hell out of my head. May 17th, 2022 on The Guardian. You go read it. I can barely stomach it. But that means that, World Trade Organization, that's not too far off from Dar Schwab getting involved in all this, which is something we certainly don't want to see. We don't want to see that. But you can read that for yourself. Bigfoot 99 KTGA radio or TV, I don't know. It says 102 The Bandit. Anyway, state water officials approved $300,000 study of cloud seeding in local mountain ranges. The 10 members of the Wyoming Water Development Commission on Friday approved $300,000 proposal to fund a hydrologic study of cloud seeding in the Medicine Bow and Sierra Madre mountains. The bid was awarded to NCAR, the National Center for Atmospheric Research in Boulder, Colorado. NCAR is a federally funded research and development center. Much of its work in applied science focuses on meteorology, climate science, and atmospheric chemistry, and is also like the #1 university, also called UCAR, University Corporation for Atmospheric Research. UCAR, Boulder, Colorado is the center of the universe of weather modification. It's in Boulder, Colorado. And this just highlights what I just got finished saying. They're still doing studies to try to prove that cloud seeding works since 1946. I said it to Ken Caldera and David Keith in 2012. If they have not been able to prove that cloud seeding has efficacy and that it works, it has predictable results since 1946 till today, how do you think you're ever going to get to a point where you can prove that geoengineering or blocking sunlight through spraying chemicals into the sky and making artificial volcanoes is ever going to be safe? You cannot. And you won't in my lifetime. And if you do, I'm going to be there to make sure that I raise as much hell as possible, because what you're doing is dangerous. What's next for the Australian government must do to save the Great Barrier Reef? Well, we talked about this last week in a video. They're doing a marine cloud brightening project called the Great Barrier Reef Restoration Project or something like that, where they are talking about spraying sea salt from the ocean into clouds to make them whiter and brighter. So they are already doing geoengineering field experiments, which means they're actually doing alteration of the climate, of the weather locally off the eastern coast over the Great Barrier Reef of Australia. They're spraying sea salt into clouds, and this may have some relation to some of the flooding that's going on. People have only talked about cloud seeding as it relates to the flooding going on there. I wonder how many people know about these experiments and how often they're occurring. There really is no transparency on this. That's why I talk about transparency in my Environmental Modification Accountability Act. Read that at climateviewer.com/ENMOD. climateviewer.com/NMOD. Transparency and verification. We need it. We need it now. But that's what they're planning on doing over in Australia. And which brings us to our man of the hour, Stuart M. Patrick from the Council on Foreign Relations. Bad relations. I wish they'd stop making relations with everybody. Because this jewel of an individual right here, whitest white man ever, Stuart Patrick, so white, so hetero, white male. He's been really pushing hard for this geoengineering thing recently. It's been just coming up on my news feed all the time. So wouldn't you know it, again, here comes another week. We're talking about Stuart Patrick, not Patrick Stewart. We're not talking about Star Trek. Stuart M. Patrick, the James H. Binger Senior Fellow in Global Governance, Director of the International Institutions and Global Governance Program. Global governance. Can we all say just New World Order or the United Nations or, that thing. One world government to rule them all. Not a cool thing. So anyway, Stuart M. Patrick has been all in my newsfeed lately, and this is why. He authored a paper to the Council on Foreign Relations called Reflecting Sunlight to Reduce Climate Risk as a potential stopgap for rising global temperatures, argues Stuart M. Patrick, published April 2022. And since then, he's just been, out there writing, everywhere he can, talking everywhere he can. And anything that's getting pushed out by the Council on Foreign Relations is generally bad for the United States. It is bad for your personal sovereignty. This group, since its inception, has been a globalist group. Everybody knows it. And I won't go into all of those icky details, but here we have Stuart M. Patrick, April 27th, 22, to reduce growing climate dangers. The world needs to consider sunlight reflection. May 11th, 2022, also on the Council on Foreign Relations website, cooling the planet through solar reflection. Webinar coming up, or already happened, I guess. I would hit play, but there'll probably be some music and then YouTube will want to ban me. But anyway, check that out. Links in the details. Stuart Patrick, go say hello to him. Find him on Twitter. Hunt him down on email. Tell him Jim says hi and knock it the F off. Or shut up. Reflecting sunlight could ensure human safety on warming planet by Stuart Patrick and Kelly Wozner. Now, this is the second time that Stuart and Kelly have paired up to author some bullshit propaganda. But Kelly Wozner, let me tell you about her. She's part of the Silver Lining Project, or silverlining.ngo, which is part of the Marine Cloud Brightening Project, or the mcbproject.org, which is funded by Bill Gates, which is a bad thing. So here we have the way everything ties together. You got Stuart Patrick, not Patrick Stewart, Stuart Patrick writing paper for Council on Foreign Relations, advocating for geoengineering, for blocking out sunlight, co-authoring article after article with Kelly Wasner, who works as the head of silverlining.ngo, who always, is out there shilling for the idea of marine cloud brightening, of making clouds over the ocean whiter, brighter. So how does all this tie together? We talked about the hurricanes, we talked about the pollution, and now we see all of it come together in, well, if we don't have pollution over the skies in the oceans, we get more hurricanes. And if we do marine cloud brightening, that will cool the oceans. So we're going to make robot boats that will go out into the ocean, drone fleets of boats that will make ship tracks out of salt water, and that will cool the planet. And it should also alleviate hurricanes. And if you haven't seen it, you can come over to ClimateViewer.com and see just that, where, the Department of Homeland Security and the inventors of marine cloud brightening literally have patents for and multiple articles about using these same boats for marine cloud brightening for hurricane control. Dual purpose. So it's all, geoengineering, weather modification, one and the same. No matter how they try to spin it, it always ends up being the same thing. And then finally, coming to a terribly overpriced, crappy college, Harvard Solar Geoengineering Research Program, Global Security and Solar Geoengineering. This will be Friday, March 25th, 2022, from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock in location Zoom and Ophir room number 401 with Elizabeth Chalecki and, you knew it, Stuart Patrick. So Stuart Patrick will present global security and solar geoengineering on behalf of the Council on Foreign Relations at Harvard this Friday, or next Friday, isn't it? Wait, that's not a Friday. Wait, that already happened. That was last month. Damn it. March, not May. Anyway, if anybody can give me a copy of this, if this was ever recorded, please send it my way, because clearly I misread that when I put it up in there. But yeah, so Harvard Solar Geoengineering Research Program is where David Keith is doing his ScopeX program. And ScopeX is a solar radiation management program where they do stratospheric aerosol injection. So Stuart Patrick talking to Harvard's Solar Geoengineering Research Program about making artificial volcanoes in the sky using David Keith's ScopeX, which is also funded by Bill Gates. And the Koich group, Frank Koich is the head of this little program, because as you can see, David Keith really doesn't want his name attached to it, but David Keith is the inventor of the technology, is the main lobbyist for the Harvard Solar Geoengineering Program and ScopeX. And Stuart Patrick also pairing up with Kelly Wasner, Marine Cloud Brightening Project, silverlining.ngo. That is a website, silverlining.ngo, to where they both are funded by Bill Gates. So whether it's marine cloud brightening, making artificial volcanoes, Bill Gates funds both, and Stuart Patrick from the Council on Foreign Relations is out there shilling to make that happen. And that is your Tuesday News Day. I hope that most of you could stomach this, but more importantly, YouTube's algorithm is always advancing and evolving, and we must evolve with it too. So the thing that you can do most to help this video get out there and help this channel out is share this video, because sharing is caring, and caring is screwing with the Google's AI. I mean, just have fun, click that share button, copy paste it into text messages, send it in emails, put it on a social media. They're going to censor it. I'm shadow banned everywhere. Maybe you aren't, though, and you might be the one to share it and it actually gets somebody like, say, Joe Rogan, who might actually pull their head out of their ass and have somebody on who'll talk about the facts so that we can grow this channel, because I'm dedicated to telling the truth about these things, keeping you up to date with the actual links, so that you can spread the truth and keep abreast of all the things going on. So you can do that by sharing this video. Come over to YouTube. If you're watching this on Rumble, BitChute, or Odyssey, subscribe there, subscribe here, subscribe on all the things. And you can find all the things at connect.climateviewer.com. In addition, my social media platforms, and you can support the channel and my work by giving a monthly donation on Patreon or a one-time donation on PayPal. I would greatly appreciate that. That being said, thank you all for tuning in to this live broadcast of Tuesday News Day with ClimateViewer News and Weather Modification History.com, brought to you by moi, the most humble, the best, most beautiful geoengineering and weather modification historian / truth teller. I am the greatest, the great one. I love you. I mean it. Attack ideas, not people. If the video resonates with you, leave me a comment, because I love hearing from y'all. First time here, be sure to subscribe and click the bell. Yeah! Remember, it would be impossible for me to do this without your support, so please join my Patreon or buy me a coffee on PayPal. And always, attack ideas, not people.